join me in welcoming Brett DiNovi and Dr. Paul Gavoni as they present on the laws of navigating through crisis.
Thank you. Polly and I are extremely, do I speak into this? Yes. Oh. We're very humbled and grateful that we were invited, and I have to be, I can't see over this, I'm 4 foot tall. I have to be brutally honest about some things, which I'm kind of known for. No matter how many times I specifically am invited to speak somewhere, I often, quite honestly, feel a little bit out of place. And what I mean by that is just being surrounded by giants in the field and looking what Kelsey's doing and the research, and then seeing Gerhardt, and Byron. It's very humbling, and I'm more of a practitioner and an operator, so I'm not necessarily used to the academic side of things. So I'm very humbled to be in front of you guys. And what I wanted to do is, first, I just wanted us to give a big shout out to Allie for bringing us all together. Let's give her a hand. Awesome. Very incredible. And also, just the fact that we're out here in person, coming out of our comfort zones during unprecedented time in history. You're here, and we're together as a behavior analytic community. Give yourself a friggin' hand. I'm proud of everyone. So, what we're going to talk about today a little is navigating in crisis, using principles. So, I have a dream, and this dream is something I live and breathe every single day. It's a purpose for me, it's an inspiration, it's something that maybe has sacrificed relationships for myself, has resulted in maybe bankruptcy. Wait, I don't want to get too dark on this, but I could go down a real rabbit hole here. But the dream Paula and I have is the same. The dream is that people come to work. It's not rocket science, but people come to work because they want to, not because they have to. Raise your hand if you're with me on that. That's a big deal, because damn, it's a simple thing. The difference between coming to work for at least a portion of your day because you want to, not just because you have to, is the difference between positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Nod your head if you know what I mean. Okay, good. And then, so that I don't feel out of place any longer, can you smile? Pull your mask down and smile. Oh, yeah, look at those beautiful smiles. God, I just got my oxytocin going. I don't even know what that is, but I heard someone talk about that once. Anyway, the other thing is just that I have a dream, and so does Paulie. It's that the behavior analytic science is expanded throughout the world and disseminated in user-friendly ways to handle large-scale problems in government, education, industry, and then society at large. All right, feeling better and better now. Feeling more at home. I'll tell you what, speaking about feeling at home, people in New Hampshire are so much nicer than they are in New Jersey. People, they don't cut you off on the road and give you the finger. People say hi to you. People are just kind. I'm not used to that in New Jersey, and no matter what, I and we always see the kindness in someone, no matter how much chaos is going on in the world. I put away the cynicism and look for the kindness in people. So, okay, how do we accomplish this dream of people wanting to work versus having to work? How do we accomplish this large goal of changing the landscape of government, education, industry, and society? How do we do that? It's through dissemination in ways people understand. We need the researchers. We need the basic researchers, like at West Virginia University. I remember Dr. Perrone. I remember actually the experimental stuff that we did and how deep it was and how much it was needed. And then I remember both Paul and I were inspired by like Aubrey Daniels taking it to the workplace, right? So what I want to figure out is a simple, very simple thing. And I want to throw out a solution. The way that we can get people to want to work, not just show up because they have to work, is simple. It's the discretionary effort through the positive reinforcement. Although right now, it's a constant grind out there, there probably is not a more chaotic time, at least in my history, that I've been through, and I'm old. I'm feeling it every day. I don't remember a time where you have this kind of wealth gap continuing to increase. I don't remember a time where we've seen global warming and tornadoes in New Jersey every other day. I don't remember a time, I mean, this has happened all throughout history, but in our lifetimes, I don't remember, and I've been in this field 32 years, and I don't remember these things, and man, the world could use some kindness right now. Raise your hand if you agree. Yep. And the third factor I want to bring up is the way I think and the science behind people going to work because they want to, not just because they have to, is very simple. People have to feel safe at work. Feeling safe. Everything from the emotional support of knowing somebody has your back at work, right? To knowing that you're going to push the envelope to help a kid or an adult that's vulnerable. You're going to push the envelope to help them beyond what you normally do because you know someone's not trying to sue you. Leadership is about knowing that somebody has your back. You agree? Leadership, the only way that you can truly feel inspired to go above and beyond expectations as a leader yourself is knowing that you're safe. And safe means that you call your leader, and if your car has a flat tire, you know they're going to rent your car on the spot and give it to you for the week. Discretionary effort out of making you feel safe. You know that if your BACB credentials are under attack, you know your leader is going to find you the best attorney that will go to bat for you and make sure you don't lose your credentials because you did something kind and you were helping a vulnerable learner. Leadership is about making people feel safe. Leadership is about making people feel safe and making the future predictable. And there isn't a time that things have been more unpredictable that I remember. Fortunately, I'm strange as hell and I thrive in chaos. It's kind of why well, never mind, I don't get into that either. So the fourth thing is that in chaotic times, we're all evidence-based scientists here, right? In chaotic times, we like to have rules. We like to have rules of engagement of how to conduct ourselves. But some of the things we're coming across right now, they're unprecedented. There isn't a previous rule to go back and look at to figure out how to behave in the future. So what do we got to rely on? Behavior science and values. Paul and I talk about it constantly. Values and science. That's it. So a way that you'll feel safe in the workplace is if your leader always makes decisions on values and behavioral science. And the way what Paulie and I wrote about was from the heart. The values of you as a leader, the more you can make your folks feel safe by knowing that their family comes first. In our organization, which is across 5 states, and we consult internationally remote, the same values occur no matter where the culture is, whether it's Maine, whether it's California, whether it's Florida, whether it's Pittsburgh, whether it's Philadelphia, whether it's New Jersey. The same values apply all the time. It doesn't matter where it is. It's the employee's family comes first. Because if things aren't right at home, it rocks your foundation. Your family is your bedrock. Nod your head if you know what I mean. You know, like, how in the world are you supposed to help other people and be courageous? Because you know right now, if you get a text message that your son or daughter or your spouse is in pain or something's wrong, you can't focus on what I'm saying. I can't even focus on what I'm saying half the time. So it's critical, the safety. The second value, so your family, and if your family comes first all the time, that makes you feel safe because your foundation is there, your bedrock. Then you can go have discretionary effort, right? Then you can engage in behaviors that are pressing the limits to help kids and adults. Secondly, our second value, which I hope maybe the world considers values like this, is people finding the one thing that they're best at. Because the way that you'll engage in discretionary effort is because you found the one thing, and I truly believe every single person has some talent that's better than almost everyone else. And it takes a long time to figure out what that is. It takes a long time to figure it out. If you have a purpose and a mission, and then you realize that you're really good at this one thing, and you play to that strength instead of just honing in on a weakness, and you do the same thing for those that you lead, you're going to see inspiration. So number 1, value family, your family. Number 2, a niche and a passion that you care about, even if it's 5% of your day. It makes the other 95% of that grind worth it. You agree? Then the third value that we espouse in our organization is simply unlimited resources so that you can help your family, so that you can find your niche, and that the resources are all inextricably linked. All 3. And it's not something that's just a slogan. These are visual posters everywhere. And I stare at them like a weirdo. I'm like, we do interviews, and I'm like, and then I even ask our people, like, what's your number 1 value? And they'll say their family. So anyway, to build it to fluency. Now, making decisions in a chaotic crisis situation, we got the values behind, and Paulie will talk a bit about the principles. We wrote behavioral karma because we live and breathe 5 principles. Pinpointing, simply pinpointing, is one of the hardest parts. Pinpointing, what outcome are you looking to achieve, and what 1 or 2 behaviors can you repeatedly engage in that will help you achieve that outcome? Pinpointing. 2, goal setting. We all need a goal and a mission. Goal setting, simple. Making it visual. 3, self-monitoring. This has been in the OBM literature for many years. Self-monitoring, and then being held accountable by reporting out your progress to someone who cares. Pinpoint. Goal set, self-monitor while reporting out to someone who cares. 4, reciprocal feedback. That's not rocket science. And then pay for performance, which might mean, it doesn't mean money necessarily. It may mean you're going home to your family and seeing your significant other smile that you're home. So I'm about to give the stage in a minute to Paulie, but the best illustration that I can give you that these 5 principles work, and they work over and over again repeatedly for me, is that there were 4 or 5 things that I went through over a decade ago, 12 years ago. One of them was near death. The other one was bankruptcy. The other one was living. This is all my fault for acting like an ass. The other one was addictions. The other one was divorce. There's probably a million other ones. But I can tell you this. There was a day that I woke up, this is about 11 to 12 years ago, I woke up and made a decision. I'm like, I'm not going to be a behavior analyst from 9 to 4. Then it became like 9 to 3, 9 to 2, because I would pick up a beer. It started getting earlier and earlier. I decided I'm not going to be a behavior analyst. This is so inauthentic to go, preach behavior science and positivity, and then after 5 o'clock, pick up a beer and not live the values. So if you take all these very serious things, right, and then you take the 5 principles and then you replicate them, it's not rocket science, but it's the 5 laws of pinpointing, goal setting, self-monitoring, feedback, and pay for performance. That's both a process and principles. So if you repeat them over and over again, my biggest thing was to see my daughter. So 12 years ago, the example I'll give you is just one, because it is like chaos, is that because of all the problems that I had 12 years ago, I remember waking up on a bus station bench and realizing, there were flies around me like that, and realizing that I had to make a change. It's the day I woke up and said, I'm done drinking. Never picked up a drink since then. Other people can do that. And last night I was like living vicariously through people. I'm like, yeah, do a shot. But I just know for me, I can't. So bottom line, I pinpointed the outcome, which was time with my daughter. That's it. And what action did I have to engage in to repair my life? It was sobriety and strengthening functional equivalent behaviors, such as, I was a risk taker. So what I did is, instead of engaging in risk-taking behavior that was inappropriate, I replaced it, just behavior science, with something incompatible, which was simply like riding a motorcycle until that got dangerous. But it was fun for a little while. That was the pinpoint. I would do incompatible things. Exercise. You cannot decrease something that's a really bad habit, that, without doing what? Without increasing something else, right? You got to reduce a problematic behavior that's very serious, you have to replace it with something incompatible that serves the same function, right? Pinpointing. My daughter, exercise. Looking at your reasons, and I made them very visual for myself. I said, this is the moment. I'm going to stare at these on my phone. I looked at a picture of my daughter. I looked at visualizing being healthy. Okay, pinpoint, goal set, knowing that all I want to do is have overnight visits with my daughter. Number 2, goal set. There were other ones for the business. 3, I would self-monitor by and I do this in business every day with all of our 9 organizations throughout the United States. I do the same exact thing. Number 3, self-monitoring. So I would text the actions I engaged in, such as exercise, visiting my daughter, spending time, the number of days of sobriety, and I sent it to my attorney because I was in constant litigation, and I sent it to Marlene, who was the love of my life at that time. So, and then I got reciprocal feedback. So there's something about the report out process that when you self-monitor and then you report out something to someone who really gives a damn, it's powerful, right? could be your spouse. Reciprocal feedback was that my attorney and Marlene would respond saying, oh, I noticed you only worked out 32 minutes. Yesterday it was 35. I'm like, oh, geez, all right. So reciprocal feedback. Lastly, at the end of the day, by repeatedly engaging in the same actions over and over, both principles of behavior analysis and process of the 5 laws, what happened? The courts finally ruled that my daughter could live with me like 42% of the time, and I cherish those days so much. That's all I got to say. Thank you.